For over 100 years, stage fright and the effects of the presence of others has been a focus of scientific research. This study hopes to expand upon that research by examining variables that may enter the stage fright equation. Though many studies of performance anxiety, or stage fright, have been conducted in the domains of sports, communication, test-taking, and music, only a handful of studies have examined stage fright in the domain that gave stage fright its name: acting.
What? And Paris too? Oh, county that would take my maidenhead!
The data was collected from a sample of 136 professional actors associated with Sacramento Music Circus and the Musical Theater Guild of Los Angeles. Of the 136 participants, 72% had performed on national or international tours, 40% had performed on Broadway, 56% had at least co-starring roles on television, and over 30% had co-starring roles in film. This is a sample of elite actors, not students or merely members of an acting union, a caliber of professionals never before assembled for this purpose. The results, therefore, are from a sample that could greatly add to the social scientific literature. The hypotheses put forth in this study were: 1. Confidence has a negative correlation with reported stage fright. 2. Levels of confidence are highly correlated with interpretations of arousal as challenge or a threat. 3. Optimism has a negative correlation with stage fright. 4. Years as a member of a professional acting union have no significant relationship with stage fright. 5. Experience and success have no significant relationship with stage fright. 6. Neuroticism exceeds levels of extroversion in those respondents reporting stage fright. And 7. Age has no significant correlation to reported stage fright. A bivariate correlation was conducted to examine the relationships between the variables created by this study and stage fright. Several of the hypotheses can be answered from this chart alone, and for convenience, we'll take them out of order. Sadly, the agreeableness scale was far too, agreeable to be used in this study, being correlated with practically every variable. It was therefore summarily dismissed. The BFI-10 proved to be quite drastic, actually, and lacked sufficient depth beyond serving as a quick measure of personality, which was why it was chosen. Fortunately, in anticipation of this fact, the larger measures of neuroticism, extroversion, and openness were included. We can see that the neuroticism scales on both the BFI-10 and the NEO-PIR have significant correlations with stage fright. The extroversion scale, you'll notice, is not present because there was no significant correlation between extroversion and stage fright. This suggests that hypothesis number 6 is correct. Neuroticism does have a stronger relationship with stage fright than extroversion. This also runs counter to a number of studies arguing that extroversion was indeed a factor in the stage fright equation. Also shown here, optimism had a significant negative correlation with stage fright, suggesting that hypothesis number 3 is correct.
Be optimistic, don't be a grumpy. When the road gets bumpy, just smile. Your purple cherry and bad and all that. When you're sad and all that, no one loves you. Be optimistic and smile.
And while we're here, notice that optimism and neuroticism are extremely similar. Opposites in valence, they are essentially measuring the same thing, indicating that an optimism scale may not be needed in future studies. As with extroversion, it's important to notice what variables are not included in this chart. Contrary to previous studies of performance anxiety, years as a professional actor, levels of experience and success as an actor, and age had no significant correlations with reported stage fright. This fact suggests that hypothesis number 4, hypothesis number 5, and hypothesis number 7 are correct.
You're probably aware that Mrs. Crummles was the original blood drinker.
No, I didn't know that, no.
Oh, yes. I was obliged to give it up, however.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why was that, Ma'am?
Oh, the audiences, sir. They could not stand it. It was too... tremendous.
To discover the relationship between confidence and stage fright, a confidence scale was created using the two variables most commonly associated with confidence: locus of control and self-efficacy. In this new scale, confidence and stage fright were highly negatively correlated, with confidence predicting 28.4% of reported stage fright. This suggests that hypothesis number 1 is correct. Confidence is highly correlated with performance anxiety in acting, just as it is in other performance domains.
And 3 and up.
In every performance domain, performance tasks take place in a variety of locations. Two primary locations exist for actors: the audition and the actual performance. Both require acting skill, but take place under very different audience conditions. Less than half of those reporting being confident and relaxed while performing reported being confident and relaxed while auditioning. The difference between the two conditions is purely a difference of subjective interpretation. Yet this subjective interpretation seems capable of classifying a situation as being threatening or as being challenging, as fearful or as being merely exciting. In this study, the levels of stage fright for the audition were significantly higher than the performance condition. But more importantly, this was based simply on a subjective interpretation. So the audition is closer to the category of threat, and performance is closer to the category of challenge.
What are you going to sing for us?
I would like to sing A Wandering Minstrel I.
If you must.
A wandering minstrel I, a thing of shreds and...
Thank you, patches. Next, please.
Negative levels of confidence were also significantly greater in the audition situation than in the performance situation. A simple regression revealed that confidence could predict 27.9% of audition anxiety. Confidence could only predict 23.2% of anxiety in the performance condition. In fact, the less threatening the situation, the less predictive confidence becomes. While confidence is highly predictive of high anxiety scores, it had no significant correlation with low anxiety scores. The data suggests that hypothesis number 2 is correct. Levels of confidence are highly correlated with an individual's subjective interpretation of a situation. In fact, the data suggests that categories of threat and challenge may be distinguished solely by levels of confidence.
I need a moment.
Gender. This study confirmed the findings of a number of other studies regarding the significantly higher anxiety levels reported by females under all conditions. Females reported 18% more anxiety than males and considerably more physical symptoms of stage fright. There were no significant differences between males and females in personality, except for the neuroticism scale of the BFI-10, which we've already discussed. There were also no significant differences between males and females in levels of confidence. There were differences, however, between males and females in experience and success, with males scoring higher than females. Creative self-efficacy, a scale measuring levels of creative confidence, also revealed no significant gender differences. The yes and no group. Approximately 16% of respondents reported never having experienced stage fright. Of this group, extroversion scores were significantly higher than those people who reported that they had experienced stage fright. This was the only difference between the two groups. Some of the reasons given for not having stage fright were trust in the rehearsal process, confidence in task and ability, duty to audience and show, viewing the audience as being unable to evaluate the performance, and arousal interpreted as excitement. The group reporting never having experienced stage fright also had higher scores in experience and success. These were the only two differences. Acting fears.
Look at me. Shh. Look at me. I want you to hear every word I say. You understand me?
Look, please don't make me do this. No, don't make me do this.
Listen, George.
Don't make me do this, Orson.
Shh. Come on. There are some actors. Listen, George. There are some actors who will study and practice and work their whole lives. And they'll be decent actors and they'll get decent reviews. But there are other actors. Listen, George. There are other actors whom I call God created.
No, not me, Orson, never me.
Look at me.
I'm not God created.
Look at me. When I look in your eyes, do you know what I see? I see images of magnificence. I see an Antony about to create theatrical history.
It seems odd that while the greatest fear for actors was forgetting their lines, few actors reported that being an actual possibility during a performance. Important people in the audience was the second greatest fear, followed by not being a good enough actor. The latter is a fear that very few, even novice actors, seem to have. Surprisingly, most actors feel competent at their task no matter how long they've been acting, which leads us to suspect that stage fright may be more the product of some external situation, rather than fears of incompetency. Expertise. As previously mentioned, acting experience had no significant correlation with stage fright. For actors, there has always been a disconnect between experience and success. Some actors land principal roles on television without a single prior acting experience, while other accomplished actors have worked for years at their craft and never do television, film, or appear on Broadway.
Always imagined it's a pretty tough job, though, acting. I mean, the wages are a scandal, aren't they?
They can be.
I see friends from university, clever chaps, been in the business longer than you. They're scraping by on 7,000, 8,000 a year. Yeah, it's no life. What sort of acting do you do?
Films, mainly.
Oh, splendid. Oh, well done. How's the pay in movies? I mean, last film you did, what did you get paid?
$15 million.
Right. So that's fairly good.
It's possible that the learning curve is very short for actors. Theories of expertise may not apply to the acting domain, since the task behavior of novices and experts are relatively the same. If there is a distinguishing factor for acting experts, it is yet to be identified.
That's the way he tricked us once before.
Practice.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
Two items were designed to compare levels of practice with levels of stage fright. Although 75% of respondents felt moderately well to well rehearsed in their last major role, 64% of respondents still reported experiencing some stage fright symptoms. However, it's interesting to note that there were no negative references to being well or over-rehearsed. Being well or over-rehearsed was associated instead with freedom or control, the ability to take more risks, the ability to alter or add nuance to the performance, or the ability to discover and explore. The key emotional state associated with the proper amount of rehearsal was comfort. Memorization. The memorization process is quite unique for actors. This study confirms a theory regarding meaning-based memory put forth by Noyce and Noyce. Approximately 80% of the professional actors in this study either read the entire script or all the scenes in which their character appears before ever starting to memorize.
You've arrived not a moment too soon.
When do we start?
Tonight.
Good. I'd like to get in, get on with it, get it over with, and get out. Get it?
Got it.
Good.
This suggests that actors look for the schema of their character, allowing a theory of mind to create both fictitious desires and emotion that provide cues to the character's next action, thereby providing memory cues for dialogue.
What's your usual line of business?
Theater actor. Tragedy, you know. Oh, yes. I also sell an article to take tartar off teeth. It does take it off, too, along with most of the enamel. How about you?
Traits. Although there's a very convincing argument that genetic traits tell most of the stage fright story, that was not the conclusion indicated by this data. Neuroticism was the only trait that demonstrated a significant relationship with stage fright.
You're not going to make any effort to change? This is the person you're going to be until the day you die?
We are what we are.
Age. Although age was not significantly correlated with stage fright, it did have a significant relationship with confidence. There was also a significant difference between high and low trait anxious groups and age, with older actors landing primarily in the low anxious group. Confidence. The data presented here suggests that high levels of confidence, while not eliminating arousal, may be capable of relabeling the arousal as excitement.
Actually, it hasn't been so bad. You know, I took you up on your advice, and I found a dress. Ellie was right. When I put it on, it felt like magic.
Get down on the ground before I blow your freaking head off!
So, arousal is not an enemy, even in highly complex tasks, such as acting. The data further suggests that confidence may eliminate cognitive anxiety, allowing for greater cognitive capacity. While 60% of respondents reported the absence of negative thoughts or worry under normal performance conditions, 82% reported the absence of negative thoughts during their most confident acting moments. Furthermore, there was an interesting association between the most confident acting moments and the word fun. Fun is not a word commonly bandied about during conditions of threat, yet fun may contain arousal. So the difference between normal performing conditions and supremely confident performing conditions may be the shift, not in arousal, but in the subjective interpretation of that arousal. Conclusion. In 1898, Norman Triplett believed that latent, unseen reservoirs of energy are released while in the presence of others. It's ironic that after over 100 years of research, we find ourselves returning to unseen forces such as confidence, a metacognitive variable, to explain changes in human performance that cannot be explained any other way. It's my hope that future research will find new ways to incorporate metacognitive variables with in vivo research methods and shed more light on the role of confidence in human performance.
So good night unto you all. Give me your hands, if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
The yellow brick road.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine.
Oh my goodness.
Libiamo nei lieti calici che la bellezza infiora e la fuggevol ora si ebria voluta. Libiam nei dolci fremiti che suscita l'amore, poiché quell'occhio al cuore